I got a little thing that I'm going to start up today. The Husqvarna 350. It's a nice little pro saw. It's a non-XP, but they're a small saw, like 50.7 cc, I believe it is. I'd have to look, but this thing I'll show you here in just a second. It is trashed. I mean, nasty looking, but I was expecting the worst and got the best. And this is what you can do once in a while. You know, you get these saws that people basically throw away or don't want to fix. It costs a lot to fix them. It takes a lot of time, because I'll probably have somewhere in the neighborhood of about 3 days easy into this one, cleaning it up, running a lot of the parts through the I can't think of what it's called, through the sonic cleaner. I just bought one. Oh, if you don't have a sonic parts cleaner, get one. It's just amazing. And a lot of people use Dawn dishwashing liquid, and I'm here to tell you, don't do that, because it doesn't work near as good as the cleaners you can buy. Yes, it is very expensive to buy the cleaners, but I'm talking 2 30-minute runs on something that looks like what I'm about to show you here in a second, versus probably 6 to 8 runs through it. So I run it at about 180 degrees on 30-second cycle or 30-minute cycles, and it's just amazing. Oh yeah, by the way, my hat, this is still open in a town I used to live at, so sorry for showing you, looking down and showing you the top of my hat all the time. So that we'll get down here to this saw and we'll see how it works. But here we go. Okay, like I said, this is a Husqvarna 350. It's just nasty looking. Let me get you in the frame a little bit better there. I got you kind of pulled down a little bit too far. We'll pick you back up again. There you go. It's just nasty looking all the way. I've already pulled the stuff off of it, cylinder, but all of this will come off. The handle will come off. It'll be nothing but a case, and then I'm going to split the case. Reason why is it's an older saw. I'm not going to trust I'm going to resell it, so I'm not going to trust the bearings and the seals to be good enough to sell. So I'll pull it completely apart, make sure the interior case is still good, and you guys get to follow my journey, because I love doing this kind of stuff. I don't know why, but I do. So first off, we're gonna pull this flywheel off in a very as gentle way as we can, but more than likely it's not going to be gentle. It's going to be stuck on there very, very hard, and I'll show you what I do, and y'all's going to cringe at this, but I haven't had an issue yet. So there's always a first time, but we're going to hope. Yeah, a lot of people use electric things on this. I do too, once in a while, but for this I'm not going to. So first off, when you do this, I always try to get underneath the thickest part of the whole flywheel. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. I've had to modify this puller several times in order to get underneath some of the small saws, and it looks like I'm going to have to do the same thing to this one. So let me see if there's any way that I can get underneath that one there with the thinnest part, and it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to. So I'll be back. I'm gonna go grind this down some more and try to get underneath of that thing. So I'll be right back. Excuse me. All right, ground her down some. Let's see if it's enough. Doesn't look like it's enough. Now, let's try this again, because that's at a pretty good little bevel, and I want to get underneath of it. Okay, I ground it down some more. The only bad thing about grinding these down is that there's a very good possibility that you weaken it too much. And when that happens, more than likely, you're going to break your puller. You may not do any damage to anything too major, but you will break your puller. But these small saws, they don't give you a lot of room to do anything with. Yep. Hang on. I know I'm not out of gas. Okay, let's go back to it. Yeah, we're gonna get our little crescent wrench here. You can use a wrench if you like. Just apply some good pressure to it. Keep an eye on your jaws to make sure they're going straight up and down. Make sure they're not kicking out to the side any. You want as straight a pull on this as you could possibly get. Ooh, looky there. That one came off quick. That or it popped off. Let me make sure. Let me get some more pressure on it. Yep. I broke my puller. See, this is why, right here, you gotta watch how much you take off of that, because I just ruined a very good puller. So now we got to try to do it the old-fashioned way, and I really hate doing this because I end up hurting myself. And it's not good on anything. But I'll show you how you can do that. Just like that. Now if you wanted to do it correctly, because I didn't do it correctly, is put the nut on it so it doesn't drop down like that. But you know, we're taking it apart. It really, as long as, and this is something you really got to watch, because a lot of these that I've noticed on the newer ones, that right there is your key, and it's molded into this. Now the other day I had to take, and because that broke off, I had to take a piece of steel and make a chisel bit, and I chiseled that keyway back out of it by hand. Took me like 2 hours, and made a key to fit this little odd shaped keyway they have here. It's not a oh, what do they call it, a drift key. It's just a rounded dip in there. It's not even a square drift key. So I had to make a key for that. The saw runs perfect now, and I don't have to worry about it stripping out again, but it was my own fault. I put it in there, and I did not tighten it up enough, and I started it. Well, as soon as it started, it sheared that off, so that was my own fault. But I'm quite okay with doing a bunch of stuff like that, because I actually made it better than it was to begin with. And now, if it shears it off, it's soft steel, so if it shears it off of the shaft, more than likely everything will be just fine. You can just replace the key, clean it up a little bit, and go on. Now, we're going to split this case as soon as I take all this other stuff off of it. So bear with me. Let me put this away. Well, that's too bad. But that's what happens sometimes. I can't take the dip. So first, if you're going to split it, you need to take this off. And that exposes your oil. Ooh, look at that. That's just... Why? Clean your saws, people. Take them apart and clean them. Well, something I didn't realize until just now is that this particular one, it's a pro saw as far as the top cover comes off, but it's also a clamshell. So you still take the bolts out from the bottom like you do a clamshell. So I got to take the handle off, do that, and then we'll take the clamshell off. It actually makes it a little easier as far as I'm concerned. So let's get to it. Now all these bolts, almost every saw, most all of your bolts are going to be the same length to take the body apart and the handles and all that, but there's going to be differences, like small ones for that shield over the top of the oiler. But they're all going to be about the same size, but keep an eye out, because when they're a different size, you need to put that same size one back in that hole, or you could possibly go through an oil case or a fuel tank or just bad things. Not only that, but you could also put a small one where there's supposed to be a long one, and you'll end up stripping threads out from the vibration. See how small that bolt is? That's for the oiler. And there's your oiler. It's all dirty and nasty. But that little cam, there's a little cam right there. Let me blow that off and you can see it. There's a little dome right there. You can see that. And see how it's beveled? Well, this piece right there is beveled also. So the more you turn it, the more it hits this bevel on this and gives you more or less oil. So as you're turning it, you just put it up here like this, and I'll see if I can get you to where you can see this bevel here, where it in relationship with this bevel here. So we're gonna turn you this way. Can you see that? As you turn that, that bevel goes up and down so that a lower amount, this one's only got 3 positions, so it falls into this bevel here. Sorry about the shaking. But this bevel here drops down into this bevel, which actually brings this way and chokes off a hole back inside of here. And the more you push that towards that hole, the more oil you get. So we're gonna go boom, boom. Right now, that's the least amount of oil you're gonna get, and then boom, boom. That's the most amount of oil you're gonna get, because the way it slides it. Now these are all pretty much the same. This one actually goes into it. Most of them, there's a hose that goes underneath of this piece here like this, and then another one that goes on top and goes to your oiler port. But this one's all one piece that goes down into the hole for your oil port right here. But we'll find out once we get it taken apart. That's the beauty of all this. You find the great little things is the engineering of everything. This is the first time I've ever taken a 350 apart. The 445s are completely different. The 55s are completely different. The 445 is basically the same thing as the 450 or the 455. There are some differences, not a lot, but it's closer. The 340s is the same base as this one. Aw, just undone the thing here, so I gotta hold it. It's not wanting to cooperate. There we go. Go ahead and take this out while we're at it. It's the adjuster. And that should remove our case once we pull the fuel hose. Fuel hose is right there. Ah, stole my coffee. Can't be doing that. Gotta have coffee. People, you gotta have coffee. It just works. So we pull that up. Pull that fuel line out of there. Get the AV mount, put it over here. And we got another one sticking out here, another AV mount here. It's a bully AV mount. And the beauty of this is I've got 2 of these 350s. So we're going to make 1 out of 2, and then I'm going to order the parts to make 1. And that's, don't let your saw get this dirty. There's no reason for it whatsoever. So now you can get to those 4 bolts right here. Those 4 bolts. And that takes it a little bit bigger. 5mm. Take that puppy out of there. Ew, somebody used some thread lock. Those were not tight at all. They should have been a little bit snugger than that. But not a great deal. It was okay. It's just a little bit less tight than I'd like to see. Because when they're not tight enough, like that one was tight enough, but when they're not tight enough, those seals give up just a hair bit from the vibration, and they'll start pushing air out or sucking air in and causing issues. Because whenever you suck air into it from that, it goes into a lean condition, and it burns things up because you're not getting enough oil. Plus your carburetor kind of does some weird things, and you just got to take and break it apart. Eek. Make sure I've got everything. It's all 4. Yep, we're good. All right. I don't want to push on this, so I'm going to take a rubber mallet. I'm going to smack that. Get you old good old rubber mallet and give it a good smack. It's not the best thing in the world to do, but they put that glue on there, so then you see how that's catching like this. So what you got to do is you got to turn that around to where the bevels are down and the counterweights are up, and then you just take it and just pull it right up out of there. And if you look at this whole thing has been hot. See how that's dark, discolored? I'd trust it. I mean, it's not been overly done, but most of that is from just getting hot with bad fuel mixture, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. And this one's a little different because I've never seen them with the, you can see how the bearings, this is why I pulled it apart. See how the bearings have heated up enough to make that rubber not seal very well? So when you see something like this, you need to come in here and look at these journals right here. Let me get a point in here. Look at these journals right here to make sure they're not melted.